Okay, back with closing trades right here on ET Now, and in conversation as promised with Kuntal Joisher, mountain climber, joins us right now in the studio. Did you have to climb a lot of steps to reach our studio?
I actually did walk from Parel station here, so I did walk.
Okay, but nevertheless, I think you achieved this feat in May of this year.
Correct. I got to the very top of Mount Everest on May 19th at 9:20 in the morning. That's Nepali time. And so, yeah, of course, it's been a month now, and I've come back home, and sort of Everest has left a very big hole in my life. So I'm dealing with that hole that Everest has left in my life.
So no frostbites, no other...
Luckily, no injuries. But the thing is that I train very, very hard. When I'm back home, I've been training for the last 7 years. And so one of the reasons that I train so hard is so that I don't get any of these injuries.
Firstly, congratulations.
Yes.
That's...
Sorry.
It's really huge.
Thank you so much.
Heartfelt congratulations, makes us very proud. This you did after two attempts. 2014 you attempted to climb Everest, 2015 you attempted, you finally did it. Third time lucky, as they say.
Right.
2016.
Right. So in 2014 when I went to climb the mountain, there was the single largest accident on the mountain happened where 16 Sherpa guides died.
Okay.
And then I tried again in 2015, and of course most of us know that there was a big earthquake in Nepal that also created an avalanche at the base camp where 20 people died. So
you were around that area at that
I
time?
was bang inside that avalanche, and I was even featured in that video that went viral across the world with 23 million views. So I was in that video, and of course, but more important than the avalanche or deaths at the base camp was the devastation that had happened in Nepal. 10,000 people died. And
but Kuntal, let's talk about the good things here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the good thing. And you summited Everest. Now, tell us about this whole experience. A lot of people out here who are listening into this discussion have read about it, have probably seen movies, but don't quite know what it means to climb 28,000 feet. For them, it's just another number.
Right.
Tell us the difference.
Right. So one of the things that I have to say is that I have been climbing for the last 7 years, and I have climbed various mountains. I have climbed something called Mount Manaslu. It's the 8th highest mountain in the world, and I'm only the second Indian to do it.
Okay.
It's a very difficult mountain. It's also called the Killer Mountain.
Sure.
And when I climbed Everest, I have to tell you that Everest is 10 times harder than Mount Manaslu. Like 10 times. It is the hardest thing I've done in my entire life.
Wow.
But other than that, when I was like 20 meters away from the summit, I was just going to get to the top. I don't know what happened. I mean, the first emotion was that I was very relieved. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to make it to the top, going to make it back down safely. But what happened is, I have no clue what happened, and I started crying. And you know that there is this phrase in Hindi called "food ke rona." Like for the first time in my life, I experienced that phrase firsthand. Like I just could not stop crying, and I cried and cried and I cried until I got to the summit. My Sherpa was so worried that, something's gone wrong with this guy. He's like going to end up dying or something. And I'm like, no. I'm just crying out of sheer joy, sheer joy of getting to the top after like so many years of, hard work.
Yeah, like we've been saying, you got lucky the third time. And it can be extremely overwhelming. So I can understand, the tears coming at that point. But, what we're also amazed by is the fact that, you are in this very strenuous, sort of a job, I would say. It's really your way of life.
Right.
And you do it by choosing to be a vegan, by following a vegetarian diet and, being off meat in every which way. Including my producer, Rohan, we all wonder, how do you do it? How do you manage to actually climb and be in a physically demanding job or do a physically demanding task following a vegetarian diet?
Right, so I turned a vegan about 14 years ago. Since then, I have not had any animal products. And the reason I turned vegan was because, I supported the animal rights cause, and that was my ethical choice, for my personal choice. When I started mountain climbing, the first thing I quickly realized is that in the community, everyone started telling me that, hey, you have to eat meat and dairy to succeed. But for me, my cause was more important than mountain climbing, so I wanted to make it work. And so what I did is, I started figuring out specifically what diet would work for my mountain climbing. And eventually, over a period of so many expeditions, I have figured that diet out. And, now that I've figured this diet out, the thing that it has helped me is when I go and do a very difficult workout, let's say, I'm doing like a 6-hour workout on a day. And when I eat this specific food, the diet that I eat, the next day I'm recovered and I'm ready to go and push put in, 6 more hours. So this diet has helped my performance when I'm training, and of course when I'm on the mountain, this diet has also helped me. And so one of the things, that I want to give a message to your viewers is that whoever is a vegan or a vegetarian and is looking to climb or looking to do these endurance activities, I think, it is very, very doable. As long as you're committed to your cause and as long as you're committed to find out what diet works for you, this is very doable. I mean, I have climbed to the very top of the world, and if I can do it, of course everyone can do it.
Well, that's a quite humble statement as well, Kuntal, but I'm sure it requires a lot of things. But a lot of people out here, want to do the base camp. I mean, they want to kind of do that. Not everybody aspires to reach the top because it's difficult.
Right.
But everybody believes that they can reach the base camp. Is it as easy as it sounds, or even reaching the base camp is damn difficult?
Right. So first, let me tell you that, first of all, I don't even consider the very smallest or the very so-called easiest trek in the Sahyadris, which is, mountains near Bombay, easy. Nothing is easy because elements of nature can dramatically change the terrain, there can be a rainstorm or something and things can go wrong.
Sure.
So now coming to Everest Base Camp, it's a very challenging trek, but it's a very doable trek if you actually put in the effort. So for example, if you train well, if you eat well, and you do this for about 6 months to a year before the trek, it should be very doable. I mean, I will say that it is not easy, but it is doable if you put in the right amount of training and eat the right amount of food, and not right amount, but right food. You sleep well, you hydrate well, you do all those things, you'll be good to go.
Breathing problems on the top of Everest?
In fact, you were making that point about how, the heart actually takes in more air at the top. So actually having protein is detrimental when you're pretty much through your way up the climb.
Right. So as you go higher and higher up the mountain, what tends to happen is your body is conserving, or your brain is conserving oxygen supply to itself and to heart, and it's cutting off oxygen to every other parts of your body.
Okay, Kuntal, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your thoughts, and really good of you to join us in our studio.
Thanks so much for having me.